Money 101 with Bob McCormick, featuring the Wall Street Journal, the place to manage your money and your life. And now, here's Bob McCormick.
Oh, we're on top of it today. We got a big show. You don't want to miss this because we're going to tell you something you didn't know about that traffic ticket. Something that is going to help you be able to fight a ticket if you feel it was issued unjustly or if you just cannot afford it. You know, I can't prove this. I know they'll deny it, but we know that all of these governmental agencies desperately need money. And writing tickets is a cash cow, just like the red light cameras in Los Angeles, which they turned off last month. Cash cow can turn to bureaucratic nightmares for consumers and even for the governmental agencies, but we know they need money. We know we're not going to get a break. I mean, that's the bottom line, isn't it? Whereas before, maybe you could get a break. You talk to the officer if you get pulled over, and maybe he'll give you a little bit of a break this time and a warning. You'll get away with the warning. No, I don't think that's going to happen very much anymore. I don't think the folks in the studio here who make a business of fighting tickets. They're with TicketBust.com. They got the book, Traffic Tickets Don't Get Bad, Get Them Dismissed. We got Steve Miller with us. He has a program designed to help drivers contest and dismiss their tickets by mail, so you don't got to go down there in person. Steve graduated from Cal State Northridge with a BS in accounting, and his co-author and co-partner here, Alexis Vega, is with us, and she's studied law. Neither one are lawyers, though. We want to tell you that right up front. But there's something that, Stephen, the people don't realize when they get a ticket. The first mistake they make is not really looking closely at that ticket, what their options are.
Yeah, hi, Bob. How you doing? On the back of every ticket, you have your options on how you can contest or find out different ways to try to get that traffic ticket dismissed. One of the ways obviously everybody knows about is traffic school. Another way is going to court. What people don't know about is there's what's called a trial by written declaration, which has been around since approximately 1974 or so, and it allows every driver who gets a ticket in California, whether you live in the state or out of the state, if you get a ticket in California, you can contest that ticket using what's called a trial by written declaration. And a trial by written declaration is a way to contest that ticket without going to court. Many people are afraid to go to court. They don't know what to say when they go to court. The trial by declaration documents allow you to do that without going to court.
And many people who go to court simply are banking on the fact that maybe the officer won't show up or they won't have to say anything. And maybe they feel like they're going to be caught in a lie or that somehow they're going to get into more trouble. So, given this mail, I mean, this is the way tax audits are being done now. Most of them by mail. So you're saying you can fight a ticket by mail. Do you have to be a lawyer to write that letter, Alexis?
No, Bob, you don't. Any person can do a trial by declaration on their own, but the key is knowing what to say in the declaration as well as what not to say is important.
Now, you're making a declaration, so this is going to be a legal statement?
It is. These are the trial by written declaration. These are legal court documents. What our company does is we research the particular violation. We do the necessary research to prepare a good defense, help you get out of this ticket.
So what you're saying, both of you, Stephen, is that you can
Yes.
do this on yourself. You can do this on your own.
Yeah, and
you don't need to hire a lawyer.
Yeah, I make a comparison all the time because we talk to thousands and thousands of people. We've contested over 50,000 tickets in California, and people ask me all the time, well, why can't I do it on my own? Well, sure you can. Just like if a pipe breaks in the house, you could hire a plumber to fix that pipe or do it yourself.
But a written declaration, we're not talking about sending in a big, thick pile of papers or evidence that you've collected. You're just making a statement about what happened. It's going to be your side of the story, I take it.
Partially. Like Alexis said, you can do it right or you can do it wrong. You have to know what to say and what not to say. Normally, a declaration encompasses anywhere between 5 and 10 pages of documentation. So It isn't just, hey, I didn't do what they're saying. It takes some work.
We're going to get into that. But let's talk about the most frequent, and I take it the moving violations. We're talking speeding here in many cases, but I kind of thought that the probably the most frequent would be that California stop, the rolling stop that so many of us do when we come to a stop sign.
Yeah, that's a frequent violation, so are red light camera tickets, but obviously by far the most frequent violation is speeding. Whether it's on the freeway, a city street, speeding is the most frequent.
And the most damaging to your record. I mean, in terms of insurance and your DMV record.
Possibly. It carries a point, just like any other ticket, any normal traffic infraction carries 1 point. However, a red light photo ticket, as far as damaging to your pocketbook, a red light photo ticket can cost you upwards of $500, where a speeding ticket might be $250, $350.
But let's be clear right here, right now. Red light cameras are still very much a part of the life for many of the people listening right now, even though Los Angeles has pulled the plug.
Absolutely.
That's the city only.
Absolutely. That's probably one of our most popular calls right now, people wondering if, hey, I just got a red light photo ticket. Do I need to go to court on this? Do I need to contest it? I've heard that they eliminated it. Well, that's a fallacy. They eliminated the red light photo ticket in the city of Los Angeles only recently. That's the big press that came out about a year ago, and then most recently in March, they stated that they weren't going to try to collect or enforce any old red light photo tickets out there that are still lingering.
Okay, so it's still out there and very
Absolutely.
much a reality for people who are living in Ventura County, Orange County, and various unincorporated areas?
Yes, okay. And if you don't deal with it, it goes on your record.
All right, Steve and Alexis, I want to start with some of the commonly held, possibly myths, and we'll do this in a true or false method. You can't get a ticket for speeding if you're just going with the flow of traffic. Now, I'm going with the flow, and we all know when you're on 101, the 405, there ain't too many people going 55 unless there's a traffic jam.
Correct.
Is that a good argument if you're pulled over at 65?
Absolutely not. That's fiction. If you're going with the flow of traffic, that's not an excuse. That argument is totally fiction. There's what's known as the basic speed law, and that states that you have to drive at speeds that are safe under the conditions. Now, this could mean if there's heavy traffic, you go a little slower, if different types of weather, or you might have to go a little faster not to impede traffic. But it doesn't mean that if everybody's going 50 miles an hour in a 35-mile-an-hour zone that you can't get a ticket for that.
You can be singled out, but if there's a lot of other people that are not pulled over, that's not going to help you one iota.
Doesn't.
All right.
Not at all.
If the cop doesn't have you sign the ticket, I've heard it's invalid. True or false, Alexa?
Unfortunately, that's fiction, Bob. If the officer forgot to have you sign the ticket, that could go to show that he wasn't paying full attention to detail that day, which could lead to other things. Maybe he didn't quite observe you making, that full stop at the stop sign or failing to stop at the stop sign. All the signature does really, it allows the officer to release you from the traffic stop so he doesn't have to haul you to jail.
Otherwise, if you refuse to sign, you could be going in.
Right, exactly.
To the barbed wire hotel, as we used to say. All right. Alexis and Stephen are here. We got a lot more questions. If an officer, can they hide out of sight while monitoring traffic and then pick you off? If you get a ticket in California with an out-of-state license, is there reason to worry this is going to affect your license? Traffic school, what you need to know, radar detectors, all of that and more. With Stephen and Alexis, our toll-free number, you got a question about fighting that ticket, 888-539-2980. That's 888-539-2980. Bob McCormick, Money 101. Traffic ticket experts, Stephen Miller and Alexis Vega are in the house. TicketBust.com is their game and their business. 888-539-2980 if you are in the process of finding one. And what are the things you can do about a red light ticket outside of Los Angeles if you get one right now? 888-539-2980. Money 101 on KFWB News Talk 980. Here to protect your money every day from 9 to 11. I'm Bob McCormick. This is Money 101 on KFWB News Talk 980. TicketBust.com is in the house. Major cities in Los Angeles County are ticketing big time right now. I got 2 in one day. I got 2 tickets for not having the license plate on the front bumper. And I asked Stephen Miller of TicketBust.com, I said, well, I can get one to cancel out, right? And you're saying, but no, they're both valid.
They're both valid tickets, but they're correctable violations. They don't carry a point. You pay the ticket. You might be able to go down and get them to dismiss one of them because it was the same day.
Yeah.
But they're both valid tickets.
They're still going to want to see what the plate.
Yeah,
I got to get the plate.
You got to put the plate on. Yes.
All right, more to come. 888-539-2980. We'll go to your calls in just a moment. Right now, everybody on Wall Street's basking in the glow of Apple's glory here, and Apple is floating a lot of boats today. Patrice Sikora of the Wall Street Journal is with us. Hi,
floating a lot of boats, Bob. I like that phrase, correctable violation, though, too. There's something an oxymoronish about that. But we do have Apple up 8.5% right now. Of course, everybody knows quarterly profit. They just soared 94%, blew everybody out of the water. Apple, if you remember, NASDAQ was down a little bit yesterday. People were worried that Apple's earnings were going to come in weaker than expected because the AT&T numbers had not been quite as robust on the iPhone.
Yeah, so at one point, Apple was down to about 570. It had lost 10% of billions of dollars, $50 billion of market cap.
And surprise,
man alive,
just blew them out of the water. iPhone shipments up 88%, more than 35 million sold. And Apple right now it's $609. It is up more than 50% for year to date.
And it's when we mentioned floated the boat, you got Qualcomm, you got Broadcom,
right? All the chip
Skyworks,
suppliers,
all of these companies, Cirrus Logic, all higher on that.
Yeah, we've also got a couple of other earnings in. Delta better than expected, although they are down about 1%. Boeing better than expected, up more than 3.5%. And U.S. Airways beat. They're down about 1%, though. Concern there, they are making overtures to the unions at bankrupt American Airlines. People aren't so sure that merger should go through, though.
Okay, now Boeing had a good day today. As mentioned also a Dow component. How much of this Fed news conference will be a market mover today after 11 o'clock when they have the Bernanke news conference?
Yeah, probably not much. Bernanke is not really expected to say much of anything. No major announcement. The Fed is expected to hold rates steady and remain very tight-lipped on any talk of further economic stimulus. They may, however, lower where they see employment going and the rate at which they expect it to improve.
Okay. Well, we've already seen some troubling signs there.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay. So we're up right across the board right now.
Dow Industrial's up 64.5 points, 13,066. NASDAQ up 57 points, almost 2%. A bulk of that is Apple. And the S&P up about 14 points, which also is about 1%.
By the way, we're going to get that policy decision here in about 15 minutes. So we're going to have that coming up. It's not usually, I said after 11, I misspoke. It's
well, they've got two different reports they're bringing out. One is just about now, and then one in about 2 hours.
Okay, very good. Thank you for being with us, Patrice. See you soon. And let's go to Maria in Downey with a question for our ticket busters on Money 101. Hi, Maria.
Hi, Bob. How are you?
Good. What could we do to help?
Well, my daughter's got a Bread Ticket Lite, and this has been a few months. She didn't pay it. She's a single mom with limited income. So, and she never went to court, never fought, never did anything. And now she's been sent to collections for not paying it, of course. So I wanted to know what options she has. And I heard you and your guests talking about trial by written declaration.
Well, a lot of this, Maria, is before the due date, the court date, or the deadline to pay. So once you go past that, I'll let Stephen get into it. But what are your options at that point?
Yeah, Maria, Bob's exactly right. The best advice first in the future is to deal with a ticket before it goes to collection, because there's a lot of things you can do to delay the payment of that ticket by extending it and other things. But unfortunately, your daughter's ticket is in collection, and it sounds like she has an FTA, a failure to appear possibly too, and that adds more onto it.
Not to mention the fact you could be, when you're stopped, you could be taken in.
Absolutely. They could take you, if they want, they could take you into jail. Now, when you're dealing with a ticket that's in collection, you're actually dealing with the collection company, not the court. So you need to call up the collection company and negotiate with them, possibly with the payment of that ticket. They report back to the court, and that ticket will be satisfied. In the meantime, you could also call the clerk. You could set up a court date. You can go into court and produce a valid reason why maybe you weren't able to deal with that ticket at that time. Were you out of town? Was she sick? Was there something going on? And they might remove that out of collection and set a court date. That won't be your actual court date, but they might allow you to set a court date in the future to contest it. But unfortunately, a trial by declaration is not an option here since that ticket is already past due and is in collection.
Yeah, and that's the sad point of it. Because if she had a case to present, oftentimes financial difficulties has been taken, as a legitimate reason because of the state of the economy in the courts.
Yeah, we've seen many tickets just reduced. They won't take the point off the record, but they've reduced a $500 red light ticket to $250 for financial considerations.
All right. Maria, good luck. Tell her to get deal with this, though. Dusty's in Santa Fe Springs, Money 101 KFWB. Dusty.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Hi. What can we do?
Got a question on radar movement with the Highway Patrol on the 2-lane down around Salton Sea. I'm going eastbound. Highway Patrol is coming westbound, and he's moving approximately about the same speed I am. I was doing 65, 66. He insisted that I was doing 68 in a 55, which that's a 65 mile an hour area down there at the Salton Sea on 86.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, is it legal for the Highway Patrol to shoot you radar while he's moving, or does he have to be stopped? Is my question.
All right.
Yeah, hi, Dusty. What a lot of people don't realize is that, or aren't aware of, is that the officers can have a radar either in the stationary mode or the moving mode. Now, when the radar is used in the moving mode, there's actually more errors that can occur, because the vehicle is moving. You may be able to argue that the officer didn't have a clear line of sight. He certainly was distracted with his own driving. Maybe he didn't clock your speed accurately.
Mm-hmm. So you got more a better case.
Right. All is not lost.
All right. Good luck to you. Rick is in West Covina, Money 101. Bob McCormick here on KFWB with the folks from TicketBust.com. What can we do to help?
Yeah, hi, Bob. I had a ticket for driving with less than an ounce of marijuana. It's a traffic violation. I was wondering if that is going to be reported to the DMV and what kind of effect it'll have on my insurance.
Yeah, hi, Rick. This is Steve. We do not deal with misdemeanors, and marijuana is a misdemeanor if it's caught in your car. Unfortunately,
infraction.
What's that? Did they write it up as an infraction?
Yes, it's a traffic violation.
We have not dealt with that. I could take your number and we can look that up, and I can get back to you off air on that possibly, because that's something we usually don't deal with that, but I might be able to get you some good information.
So you were doing nothing else, Rick. You were doing nothing else. You weren't speeding. You were just stopped. Why were you pulled over?
I was actually pulled over for it was kind of stupid. He saw me clearing out my pipe.
I knew something was coming here. I throwing a roach out or something. I don't know. Okay, so he had cause. He had cause to pull you over.
Yeah, they have to have a reason to pull you over.
All right, 888-539-2980. Hold on, Rick, and Steve and Alexis will get a hold of you. I'm Bob McCormick, 888-539-2980. We got a lot to come here on Money 101 with the original Traffic Busters of TicketBust.com. The court will dismiss the violation, and if the cop doesn't show up, that true or false, you'll find out. Under state law, nothing says if you can test your ticket by trial or by written declaration and are found guilty that you can't take traffic school. True or false? You'll find out. I'm Bob McCormick. This is Money 101. 888-539-2980. The Fed has spoken. I'm Bob McCormick, Money 101 on KFWB, and interest rates will stay right where they are at these historic lows. The Federal Reserve releasing that statement saying we'll see these low rates right through 2014. So that's good news if you're getting a loan or you're going to be refinancing a loan. This helps the economy, but on the other hand, it also shows that we're still in some pretty bad trouble here with our finances. The fact that we got to keep these rates artificially low, and they certainly wouldn't be this low. And they're not this low Obviously, with the Fed rate, if you're getting a credit card or you're getting even a car loan, we're paying. And this is why we're here every day from 9 to 11, to help you save. And with us today, Stephen Miller and Alexis Vega of TicketBust.com. We're talking about what you need to know if you get a ticket, how you can fight the ticket, and the very little-known way, option that everybody's got who receives a ticket, of doing it by written declaration and to contest the ticket that way. Let's get to the calls. Lee's in Woodland Hills on Money 101. Lee, Bob here with Alexis and Stephen. Go right ahead.
Thank you very much. I got a red light photo ticket in Van Nuys, and the car is registered to my husband, so the ticket is under his name. It's me on the photo. However, what I've read is that the photo ticket law is under review and being contested, and I should just disregard, not do anything about it.
Well, let's see. What do you say, Steve?
And now,
Lee, hi. How you doing? You brought up a very interesting point, and it's a fallacy that most people have right now. They've heard the news about LA City getting rid of their red light photo system. They didn't renew the contract, and they aren't enforcing tickets. But that's only the city of LA. Wow. Every other county, every other city in the county of LA, red light photo tickets are valid. If you ignore those tickets, you will have a point on your record. You could have an FTA, a failure to appear, and increased fines. Now, as far as your particular ticket, where it's not, did you say it was issued to you, but it's your husband's picture?
No, it's her picture, but her husband got the ticket.
Okay, it's your picture, but it was issued to your husband. That's because the red light camera companies issue the ticket to the person who the car is registered to.
So what does that mean? Is he liable or is he liable?
Well, first off, the ticket is in his name, so he has to deal with that ticket first. And yes, that ticket can be contested, and the best way to do it is with a trial by written declaration. And all you need to do is prove that it was not him driving that car, since it's your picture, but the ticket was issued to your husband with a proper statement, proper facts and circumstances.
Without going to
court, put together with a trial by declaration, and in closing, a picture of yourself or of your husband. That ticket should be dismissed without question.
Do you have to put a copy of your driver's license on there, too? I would assume you do, right?
No, you don't have to.
You send in a trial by written declaration? You don't need to send proof identification?
No, you do not need to send in a copy of your driver's license.
Wow.
You sign it. It's a legal document. You're signing it. So if the wrong person is filing it, they would be perjuring themselves. But it's a legal document.
All right, we'll get to work on that, Lee. Okay, you got time. Quickly, before we go back to the callers, attending traffic school will kick a ticket from my record. True or false, Alexis?
Yes and no, Bob.
Oh.
The traffic school, it used to be you could only go once in 18 months,
right.
But the issue was on your driving record, it would show up as a dismissal. So the laws changed. The first of this year, the laws changed, so now if you take traffic school, it'll show up as a conviction. However, it'll say traffic violator school or TVS next to the conviction. Okay. So it no longer, if you go on the court website, it used to say dismiss, now it'll say conviction, TVS.
Well, what about the points, Stephen, on my record?
Well, the points will not be on your record, but it will say conviction, and it will say through traffic school. So it is public record, and people can see that, where previously it would say dismissed.
Okay. But I'm still my insurance company's going to know about it.
Your insurance company will see that it says that you were found guilty, but it's dismissed through through traffic school.
Okay, let's get to Mike in North Hollywood on Money 101 on KFWB. Bob here with the Ticket Busters. Go right ahead.
Yeah, hi, Bob. I had a ticket, red light photo ticket, about a month and a half ago in Beverly Hills. And what happened was the car in front of me that veered into another car and actually hit the car. His rear bumper, and he didn't stop. So I was actually following him and chasing him to get him to stop. And because of that, I ran through a red light. Ultimately, I ran up to him and was able to get him pulled over. He ended up being an elderly gentleman who just didn't realize what he had done. I'm just wondering, what are my chances in court when I explain to this? I went onto the court website, and it shows video of me running the light, but it also shows the gentleman in front of me with his rear bumper hanging off.
Uh-huh.
Do I have any kind of recourse?
Well, you got a little complicated case here, doesn't he, Stephen?
Yeah, he does. Now, any type of ticket like that can be contested, and it's just a matter of whether the court likes your excuse or not. Now, with the video, yeah, it's going to show that, like you said, that the bumper was hanging off, but the fact of the matter is you did run the light, and the law, states that if you go through a red light, a ticket can be issued, but that doesn't mean that you don't have a valid excuse and a valid way to try to get that ticket dismissed. But I would first, before going to court, I would do a trial by written declaration. And let me just bring something up here.
And you could go to court after you've done a trial by declaration.
Exactly, Bob. That's what I was going to bring up. See, trial by declaration is one of the only issues, or one of the only avenues to a person to give you two chances at getting a ticket dismissed.
2 bites of the apple.
2 bites of the apple. There's nowhere else in the legal system where you get 2 bites at the apple. So first, you can complete and file a trial by declaration. If it's dismissed, great. No points on your record. They refund the bail to you. If it's not dismissed, you can file what's called a trial de novo, which is a new trial, and it gives you a second chance to go back to court and contest that ticket, and you're right back where you are today. So why not take 2 chances at it than one?
When you file a written declaration, do you get it notarized?
No, you don't have to get the declaration, but we do recommend submitting it to the court certified.
Sure.
That way you do get a receipt that it was turned in.
Let's go to Carol in San Fernando on Money 101. And Carol, how can we help you?
Hi, good morning. My daughter got a speeding ticket yesterday. She's 17, and the officer wrote on the ticket that she could not contest it. Well, she can't do traffic school, and I was just wondering if that is a law that teenagers can't do traffic school. I'm not sure.
A 17-year-old who gets a speeding ticket, Alexis?
Hey, Carol. So the issue here is your daughter is a minor. The way it works is the courts want to ensure that the parents are aware of the traffic tickets, so the kids can't get away without you knowing. So they are going to require, she should have a mandatory appearance. They are going to require that she go down to the courthouse. You will need to be there with her. But once you show up in court, they'll tell her what she was charged with. They'll ask her, does she want to plead guilty, not guilty? She can plead not guilty, and you can actually ask for the trial by declaration for her. That way she'll have her chance, 2 bites at the apple. She can do the trial by declaration, and if it's not dismissed, then she can go back and for an in-person court trial.
All right, very good. Good luck to you. Alexis Vega and Stephen Miller of TicketBust.com are with us. I'm Bob McCormick. 888-539-2980, our toll-free number. Coming up, what you need to do if you're pulled over. 888-539-2980 on Money 101. That's 888-539-2980, and this is the home of the Los Angeles Clippers. KFWB News Talk 980. In action tonight in the Big Apple facing the Knicks. Pregame 4:30. Tip-off time is 5 p.m. right here. Money 101. I'm Bob McCormick here. We're learning a lot of neat stuff about the traffic laws. Yes, if found guilty in court, you can still qualify for traffic school. What you need to know about the trial by written declaration, which is your right, an option for dealing with that ticket, and more to come. We'll go back to your calls for Stephen and Alexis on Money 101 right after we bring you up to date on your money. NASDAQ still up 55. Got a nice rally here on the Apple earnings, but more importantly, the Fed has spoken, at least the first part of their resulting meeting of the 2 days, and Rex Nutting of MarketWatch is here with a little bit more on how this is going to affect us on our bottom line. Rex, what the Fed up to here? Okay, is he there? Rex is not. I guess we lost that line. Anyway, the Fed will leave interest rates where they are. No change in rates until through 2014. Dow is up 51 and the NASDAQ up 55. And Rex, anything else in that Fed statement that's going to affect us other than the interest rates? Any discussion of the economy?
Well, the Fed continues to believe that the economy is improving slowly, but it's going to be a long grind. They said that rates will probably stay very low until 2014, which is an extremely long time for these very low interest rates. So you can expect mortgage rates and bond rates and savings rates to be very low for a long time.
Now, there was a lot of talk and speculation about whether we would see more quantitative easing or a QE3 to jumpstart this economy, because hiring seems to have stumbled a little bit, and we all know that real estate is still in the dumper here. So, but nothing on that?
Well, in the statement, the Fed didn't say anything about that, although it does have its options open. Now, Chairman Ben Bernanke will be having a press conference in about an hour and a half, and he's expected to be asked a lot of questions about that. Mm-hmm. The current program ends in the middle of the summer, so it's a big question about what the Fed will do after the current program ends.
All right, very good. Well, the market reaction has been rather tepid. We're pretty much where we were before the Fed came out with that first part of their statement. But, of course, anything could come up at that news conference, so we'll be paying attention to that. Thank you, Rex. Appreciate it. Now, back to your calls. Raphael waiting in Money 101. I guess you're on the road somewhere. You're a truck driver. Yes, Raphael.
How you doing?
Good.
Well, I'm calling because I got a red light ticket. Can you hear me?
Go ahead. Yeah, we're waiting.
Okay. I got a red light ticket. I know I'm guilty, but I would like to know if it wasn't my vehicle, my car, nor my truck. I'm a truck driver. Mm-hmm. I want to know if I can go to traffic school because the officer marked that was on my private vehicle, not on my commercial vehicle.
Yeah, there's a big difference in your driver about commercial vehicle, right?
Yeah, hi, Raphael. You have a Class A license, a commercial license, and the restrictions on traffic school and the laws on traffic school are very different for commercial drivers who have a Class A license and normal drivers, everyday drivers that have a Class C license. A few years ago, the government basically outlawed traffic school for commercial drivers. So you do not have that option regardless if you got a ticket in your commercial vehicle or in your own car. So you unfortunately do not have that option. But again, your ticket can be contested using a trial by declaration.
Okay, so he still has that option.
He still has that option.
All right, very good. Thank you. Alex in Yorba Linda, Money 101, KFWB. Bob here with Stephen and Alexis. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi. It was actually my wife. Mm-hmm. She got a ticket for I believe it was a 22-100, a right-hand turn. She turned, it was a four-way stop. She turned right and turned into the middle lane rather than the lane next to the curb.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I'm just, wondering what the law is on that. I looked it up, and it's really not straightforward on me. That's something that we just kind of pay the ticket and...
Well, let's see here. They're discussing this right now as we speak. They're having that little attorneys conference, off to the side. They call it an aside, right?
Uh-huh.
Let's see what sidebar. That's right. Thank you, Phil. Let's see what they came up with. What do you come up with, Alexis?
Hi, Alex. Was your wife issued a ticket by an officer or a red light camera ticket? Because red light camera tickets, you can actually receive that type of ticket as well, the improper turn lane.
No, it was actually an officer.
It was an officer? Okay. Yeah, she definitely can fight this type of ticket using the trial by written declaration. I'd say would be a good option.
But that is something to remember when you make that right turn. You want to make the turn into the inside lane before you get in, then put the turn signal on and do it that way. Right. Okay. I wasn't really aware of that you could get a no right turn ticket.
Oh yeah.
For just going down the restaurant line. All right. Pete in Eagle Rock. You're up next. How can we help on Money 101? TicketBust.com is in the house. Go ahead.
How you doing, Bob? I got a speeding ticket less than the time limit of taking traffic school a few months back, and I took the traffic school and I got that removed. But I recently got another one, and I understand I was going 15 miles over the speed limit. I was wondering, is there any way that I could request to take traffic school again? Because I know there is a time limit of taking traffic school. And I wonder if the trial would date, the written, I guess, the explanation you were talking about. Am I able to do that to try to ask for some traffic school again, or am I not able to do so?
Yeah. Hi, Pete. The laws regarding traffic school did change as of the first of the year. You could only take traffic school once every 18 months. It used to be you could appeal to the court and they would let you take a second offender's traffic school. Now they'll only let you take it once every 18 months. So I don't believe that option is available to you. But yes, you can contest the ticket, like you were saying, with the trial by declaration. But that's not necessarily the place to ask for traffic school. You're contesting the case with that. And, a speeding ticket can be contested in various ways. You have to gather some information about that. Did the officer see you going faster? Was he pacing you? Was it radar? Was it LiDAR? There's a lot of different ways that he could have clocked your speed, and each of those cases would be contested differently.
And you can get a guilty and still take traffic school, you're saying?
Yeah, very good point.
Traffic school, if it's the 18 months has gone by.
Yes, if it's over 18 months and you can contest the ticket and you're found guilty, you still have the right to traffic school, and that is an option after contesting the case too. So we always tell people not to prematurely give up your right to contesting the case by asking for traffic school. That should be your last option.
All right, and let's get to Bob in San Juan Capistrano. Bob, Money 101.
Yes, hi, Bob.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I'm calling for my 83-year-old mother-in-law. She received one of those red light camera tickets up in Van Nuys, and it was one of the double intersections, or double stoplights where they have the stoplights for the commuter trains going through. She did not stop at the first light, but rolled to the second light and made a complete stop there, but of course the camera caught her on the first light. It's a very confusing intersection, and my question is this really a contestable type of ticket and situation for her?
Quick, Alexis, what do you say?
Yeah, hey, Bob. I know exactly the area that you're talking about down by the bus lanes. That is a confusing intersection. She can definitely fight this type of ticket. I'd recommend using the trial by written declaration and bringing up her mitigating circumstances.
All right, we got more to come. 888-539-2980 on Money 101. I'm Bob McCormick. This is the program about your money. 888-539-2980. We'll be right back.
Money 101 with Bob McCormick, featuring the Wall Street Journal, the place to manage your money and your life. And now, here's Bob McCormick.
Good morning. We're in this together, folks. We're looking and we're fighting the mortgage debt, the bankruptcy. We're fighting unemployment. We're fighting student loan debt. We're fighting credit card debt. And we're trying to get the best deal we can. We're also trying to improve our profile, getting us the best leverage that we could possibly have in dealing with the creditors, the lenders, and, of course, those who are going to loan us money in the future. We want them to love us as a customer. Joining us now on Money 101 is Jerry Detweiler of Credit.com. Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning, Bob.
The big issue of the week, and of course, we know possibly of the generation, has been the student loan debt, piling up debt, and of course, the specter of even higher rates for people taking out student loans and paying these loans. What do you see as the options that people have that they may be overlooking?
Well, Bob, it's so confusing to shop for college. There are some tools that are starting to make it easier. There's some new disclosures that are required. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has a new college cost comparison tool you can use online, which is actually pretty good. But the most important thing I say to parents and students is if you're going to borrow, please, please, please take out federal loans, because federal loans have repayment options that private loans and even the plus loans that many parents take out don't offer.
And, of course, if you can get a grant, get a scholarship in any way you can. And I'm also looking at these home equity loans, which now we're finding with the lower rates, and the Fed just today saying they're going to stay this rock bottom, 0 to 0.25% for the best bank customers, right through 2014. That's pretty good news.
Yeah, I guess if you can get it, it sounds great. We still know a lot of borrowers are having trouble qualifying to either refinance or get a mortgage or tap home equity. But, again, the other thing I go back to is with student loan debt, there is this program, the Income-Based Repayment Program, IBR, and with that program, if you have federal loans and you graduate and you aren't making enough money to make the full payments, you can make lower payments. It doesn't hurt your credit to do this at all. And if there's anything left after either 10 or 20 years, depending on the field you worked in, the rest is forgiven. That kind of option isn't available with, say, a home equity loan or some other form of financing. So while I'm all with you, 100%, don't borrow any more than you absolutely have to. If you're going to have to borrow, try to stick to federal loans.
All right. Jerry Detweiler of Credit.com, a great site for comparing the rates. And I'll tell you, some of these credit card offers now, these 0% balance transfers and the bonus mileage. I've got one that I'm looking at right now from American Airlines that will give me an extra 25,000 miles. And now they're saying they're actually averaging 50,000 extra miles for signing up. So, there's ways to leverage your credit, right, Jerry?
Absolutely. And, of course, with those rewards, I know we've talked about it before, Bob, you just hope you don't get a 1099 for those awards that you receive, right?
That's right, because all of the tax man wants his part. All right, Jerry, good to talk to you, as always. We continue now with TicketBust.com. Stephen Miller and Alexis Vega are in the house. Their experience in dealing with traffic tickets and using very little-known processes that are available to everybody. You've got a right to contest by written declaration. You don't have to go to court. And even if you fail, you still have options.
Absolutely, Bob. There's still options if a ticket is not dismissed to take traffic school or request a new trial.
Now, a lot of more people are getting tickets this month for something that we know has been in the news, and that's texting or just doing anything email on your PDA, your smartphone.
Yeah, this month, April, is National Distracted Drivers Month, and the cops are out there in full force ticketing for texting, ticketing for cell phone use. As a matter of fact, my wife is going to kill me, but she just received a ticket for texting. And she was stopped. She wasn't moving. She was at a stoplight. She pulls out her phone, starts texting, and the officer came up right beside her, gave her a ticket. Now, I have always told her not to.
My understanding is, though, that if you got to pull off the side of the road.
Yeah, you can't be in a moving vehicle, whether stopped or not. And she was a little upset about that. She didn't know you couldn't text doing that. Most people don't know that.
So are you going to do her case?
Absolutely.
All right,
we'll do our best to get it dismissed.
Let's go to Mike in Burbank on Money 101 on KFWB. Hey, Mike.
Yeah, hi there. I was just curious, why are the fees so expensive when you pay a ticket? My ticket was $110, and then went to the clerk and all that. It came out to be $529. It's really quite shocking.
Well, Mike, I'm assuming that ticket for $500 sounds like it could be a red light photo ticket or a speeding ticket when you were going very fast. However, the reason there's so many fees is you got the state government, you have the local government, you have the county governments, your city governments. Everybody tax on their fees to a ticket. So you might have a base price of $110 set by the state, but depending upon where you get that ticket, that amount can rise upwards of $500, like you mentioned.
All right, let's get to Arthur in Burbank on Money 101 on KFWB. Arthur, go right ahead. Bob here with the Ticket Busters.
Yeah, hi. I had a question about how long does the insurance company keep the points, and also how long does the DMV keep the points?
Okay, that's another very good question. Traditionally, a traffic infraction that carries 1 point is on your record for 3 years. Any misdemeanor, DUI, or other sort of ticket is usually kept on your record for 7 years.
Okay, so and during that time, there's nothing you can do.
No.
To get it booted.
No, you can't do it. Once it's on your record, it's on your record.
All right. Dolly in L.A., you're on Money 101. Hello, Dolly.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My son got a ticket. He was in Arizona, and he got a ticket by the camera, and the car is registered to me. Is there anything I can do?
Okay, car registered to her. This is another one where his picture came to you. Is that what he was? You got a photo ticket? Yeah.
Okay, but the ticket was in Arizona, correct?
Yeah.
In Arizona, uh-huh.
Yeah, and it's funny because most of the red light camera tickets are based in Arizona. That's
the companies that run these things.
Redflex and other companies, they're all based out of Arizona. Unfortunately, we don't handle tickets in Arizona. We don't know the law there, but I'm sure there are companies out there and places you can go online to research that. I would look online and look up red light camera tickets in Arizona, and you might find some information there that might be able to help you.
All right, and chances are they're going to be tougher on you, though. I mean, you're out of state. What are you going to do? You going to make a trip back to the contestant in person?
Well, in California, actually, we do get many tickets dismissed from out-of-state people. A lot of truck drivers, commercial drivers that are driving through the state.
All right, Samuel in Corona. Man, you were moving. Sam?
How you doing?
All right, you're on. Go ahead.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
I ended up getting 2 violation tickets, one for speeding and one for illegal, wrong lane. I was pulling the trailer. Now, can I contest that?
How fast were you going pulling the trailer?
I was doing 90.
90 pulling a trailer. Wow, I'm glad I wasn't around you. Alexis, what are his options?
Well, you're not a commercial driver. I assume you're just you have a regular driver's license and a passenger vehicle towing a vehicle. The speed limit is actually 55 miles an hour. Those type of vehicles, you are supposed to remain in the right lanes. But this type of ticket, again, you want to do a little research, find out exactly how the officer clocked your speed, whether he paced you, followed you in the vehicle, used radar, LiDAR. Depending on that, there's different ways to fight this ticket.
Okay, when we come back, we're going to describe all of those methods that they have of clocking you that you just rattled off. I'm Bob McCormick. This is Money 101, and the folks from TicketBust.com are in the house. 888-539-2980, 888-539-2980 on your personal finance connection in Southern California. Money 101. Homeowners, are you thinking of selling? Or maybe you're hunkering down and you're in it for the long haul. Bob McCormick here with you. That was probably one of the things that led us to say it's time to get this kitchen the way we want it. And in making our kitchen dreams come true, we went through all of the due diligence until we decided on the Kitchen Store. Now, let me tell you, I was a client first, and that's why I heartily recommend the Kitchen Store. And I want you to give them a call at area code 310-KITCHEN. You will find from the moment that they take on your kitchen remodel, you're going to be so impressed like we were with their designers' loving detail to every aspect. They do it the way they used to do it, with individual attention. No big box store can compare with the Kitchen Store. They've been in business since 1965 in Culver City. Give them a call at 310-KITCHEN or go online at 310kitchen.com. You know what really impressed me? We were back in our kitchen so much faster than I had ever expected, and that was one of the reasons I put it off for so long. I had no idea the Kitchen Store could do this the way they did. Everyone says our kitchen is bigger, but it's because of their expertise. Give them a call at 310-KITCHEN, that's area code 310-KITCHEN, and ask about the 12-month, no-interest, no-payment plan. You'll get the kitchen of your dreams like we did. That's website 310kitchen.com or by phone, area code 310-KITCHEN, the Kitchen Store.
I'm Robin Leach, talking to real Goldmax customers.
I had no idea that 2 little pieces of gold would be worth so much, so I was very happy.
Goldmax is very low pressure, and they make you feel very comfortable.
I just left with my check, and it was absolutely fantastic.
They totally educated me on the process of selling jewelry.
They make you feel very comfortable.
I walked out with $1,600. I couldn't believe it.
Goldmax is fantastic.
Goldmax is the name you can trust. Sell your gold and silver to Goldmax in a comfortable, no-pressure setting. Goldmax is not a jewelry store that buys gold and silver on the side. They are precious metal buying specialists, so you'll always receive the maximum cash. For a full list of 30 Southern California locations, go online at goldmaxusa.com.
You will get the match at Goldmax. Call 877 Goldmax. Call 877 Goldmax. You will get the match.
Billy Elliot, a show with heart, humor, and passion. Winner of 10 2009 Tony Awards, including Best Musical, at the Pantages Theater, April 10th through May 13th. Tickets available at TicketMaster.com.
Money 101, I'm Bob on KFWB News Talk 980. We're spending time on traffic tickets today. There are... Is it 18 million traffic tickets in California?
Approximately 18 million every year, yes.
And that's up about 2 million from a couple of years ago.
From about 5 years ago, it's up about 2
million. Now, we really have no way of telling whether they say there's never a quota. but they need money.
No, there's not a quota, but we live in California. They have the budget issues they have. They're issuing tickets, and initially, especially the red light photo tickets, were put in place.
Yeah, and
to
as
make
we
money.
pointed out here on this program, the city of Los Angeles has pulled the plug, but all the rest of these communities, we heard from people, Woodland Hills, Northridge, Simi Valley, it doesn't, you're still Ventura County.
All those tickets are valid tickets.
All right, let's get to Marcy Norton of the Wall Street Journal with the latest on reaction on the market to what we've heard from the Fed so far. Marcy?
Actually, not a lot happening since we heard from the Fed. Stocks are still higher and mainly attributable to Apple's big earnings. Right now, the Dow Jones Industrials are up 76 points at 13,078. The Nasdaq is up a strong 61 points, which is a gain of 2% for the Nasdaq. Pretty unusual. The S&P is up 16 points. Apple shares are up 8.5% at $607 apiece after it easily beat forecasts on sales and earnings. The Fed did say that it will not lower interest rates again, pretty much what everyone expected, and it's toning down its economic outlook just a little bit because of worries about jobs.
All right, Marcy Norton of the Wall Street Journal. Now, Alexis Vega of TicketBust.com, what are the various ways they have of calibrating our speed?
Yeah. Hey, Bob. Officers can use a visual method, just eyeballing your speed. They can pace you, follow you from a distance in their patrol car or motorcycle. They can use radar, which is a type of electronic speed device, or they can use LiDAR, also known as laser. Also, they can use an airplane, pace you from the air.
But the laser is the latest.
The laser,
right.
That one's supposed to be, more accurate. They shoot a beam of light to the vehicle, it bounces back, whereas the radar has a wider beam, so it can usually pick up more vehicles in range.
All right, now, given the fact that which one do you think is the easiest, if there is one that's easiest to fight and to beat?
In my opinion, I'd say the visual
sure.
method.
Well, sure.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a matter of opinion, right? All right, let's get Melanie in Rosita on Money 101. Stephen Miller and Alexis Vega are here. I'm Bob. How can we help? Well, Melanie?
Hi there.
Yes.
Hello?
Go right ahead.
Oh, hi. I wondered if you can tell me, why is it that whenever I get pulled over, the first thing the officer always asks is, do you know why I pulled you over? And
do you say because I'm so good looking, or what do you say?
Well, my question is, how do you answer that without implicating yourself, whether you know what you did wrong or whether you don't know what you did wrong?
And do you have to answer to begin with, Stephen?
Yeah, you should be polite to the officer. You should answer his questions, but don't volunteer any information freely, and do not argue with the officer. You don't want to give the officer any reason to remember you.
So what specifically would you say about that if he says, do you know why I pulled you over? You don't want to say, because I just ran that stop sign?
No, you
don't want to admit to anything.
Absolutely not. You don't want to admit to anything, and let's say it's a speeding ticket. You can say, I was driving at a safe and reasonable speed.
I don't know why you pulled me over.
I don't know why you pulled me over, and if he says, well, you were speeding, do you know how fast you were going? You could respond with, I was driving at a safe and reasonable speed. Never admit that you were going 70 miles an hour or whatever the speed.
But you should be polite, as you point out. It's important. Is that a crucial time, those first few minutes after you pull over, though?
Absolutely. If you're confrontational, the officer will make notes. It will be more likely that you're going to contest the ticket, more likely that he remembers you, and they document that so they know how to respond.
All right. Thank you, Melanie. David in Harbor City, you're on Money 101, KFWB. Bob here with the folks from TicketBust. Yes. Hi, David.
Hi. I was getting on the freeway on the 405 here in California. There was two lanes that got onto the on-ramp. I was in the left-hand lane. Didn't realize it was a diamond lane until I got on the freeway itself. The lane next to me was bumper to bumper. I tried to merge. Nobody would let me in, so I went ahead up through the freeway, and there was a highway patrol at the top that pulled me over and gave me a ticket.
Okay, Alexis, let's tackle this one now.
Yeah, hi, David. There's actually two types of tickets that you can receive for the carpool or HOV lane. There's crossing over the double yellows. That type of ticket will result in a point going on your record. And then the other type of ticket is for driving solo, not having a passenger in the carpool lane. That type of ticket generally will not result in a point going on your record. Both tickets are equally expensive as far as the fines. However, both tickets can be fought using the trial by declaration method in court.
All right, which we've discussed and will continue to examine. And I do want to stop here and ask Stephen and Alexis, though, for your work that you do now, you're not attorneys.
No,
but you're experts on these tickets.
We're a legal document filing service. That's what we're classified as.
And you have a flat fee that you charge people.
Yeah, our fee is $249. It's actually made up of a $100 service fee and a $149 document processing fee, total $249.
And that's to fight a ticket.
That's to fight any type of...
You want to make sure that any moving violation, not DUI.
No, we don't handle those. We refer to attorneys for those type of tickets.
But you believe that, and from what I understand, you have a money-back guarantee. So you feel that you've got a pretty good handle on what to do with these cases.
Bob, we've contested over 50,000 tickets in California. We know what to say, what not to say. And more times than not, the more important thing is what not to say. Sometimes people volunteer too much information.
Sure. We have a tendency to do that. Someone was telling me that the trouble that American businessmen have, or women, in China, is they don't know how to interact and what their customs are. And that the Chinese have a very effective tool they do, silence. And they know that the Americans, or whoever the foreigners are, will be so rattled by that and uncomfortable that they'll start talking, probably negotiating and accepting lower, and they don't have to do that much.
You negotiate against yourself. Silence kills.
It does.
It does, yeah.
And,
absolutely.
Whether you get the silent treatment at home and you do something wrong, or you're talking to a police officer, he's waiting for you to incriminate yourself with silence, and you don't want to volunteer too much.
Absolutely not.
All right, Mike in Mission Viejo, Money 101, KFWB. Go ahead, Mike.
Hi, good morning. Hey, I have a question. I got a speeding ticket in the city of Fullerton, but I live closer to the county. How do I get that to move the trial to the county? Do I have an advantage if I move it to the county?
I mean, this is often the advice you get from traffic ticket lawyers, is that you can get these things kicked if you move it to the county seat.
Yeah, that's an often used practice, is to try to get the ticket moved to the county seat, although you can't just have it moved to any court you want. There's a particular seat, a particular court in every county that's indicated as the county seat. And more often than not, they will move it to the seat, but they just won't move it to any court you want.
All right. Brandy in L.A., Money 101, Brandy. How can we help? Go ahead.
I was issued a red light camera ticket for going through a red light back in July of last year. Literally, I missed the 2-week cutoff point for where these tickets weren't even enforced anymore. Yeah. So I was taken up. They took a picture of me, and I was trying to get out of it. So somehow the court date got pushed to July 24th. The ticket is still in my boyfriend's name, and what I'm wondering is, I was given some advice around this time, and somebody told me that if I had my boyfriend go to court and say that's not me driving, that they legally cannot ask him who was driving the car, and therefore it's dismissed. Is that true?
We're going to get the answer to that question, Brandy, when we come back from our break with Stephen Miller and Alexis Vega, the authors of Traffic Tickets. Don't get mad. Get them dismissed. I'm Bob McCormick. This is Money 101. If you, like Brandy, have a question about a moving violation, what your options are, 888-539-2980. That's 888-539-2980, 888-539-2980 on the home of the Los Angeles Clippers. KFWB News Talk 980. Money 101. We don't want you to have a busy day ruined, or a nice road trip up the coast ruined because of a traffic ticket. So there are things you can do to make that ticket go away. What do you do? What are your options? Well, one option, if you're listening to Money 101, is something that very few people have paid much attention to, myself included, till I was just brought up to speed by my guests, Alexis Vega and Stephen Miller of TicketBust.com, and that is, you have the option of fighting the ticket through a declaration, a written declaration. Stephen, talk about this process. What's involved? How long does it take?
Yeah, the process, I want to be very specific here because you have to follow the process properly. If you don't follow the rules, the ticket won't get dismissed. Number one, you have to obtain the trial by declaration documents. You could get them at the court's websites, or you can go to our site, TicketBust.com, and download the forms. You need to know how to fill out those forms properly. You're going to be stating the facts and circumstances and any law or other things that you have to include in that. Or you could come to us and we can take care of that for you. When submitting the ticket to the court, the trial by declaration to the court, one requirement for that is you have to post your bail. That's the fine for the ticket. So if you just got charged $480 for a red light photo ticket, you have to write a check to Superior Court for $480. You have to attach it to the trial by declaration and submit it to the court. If you do not submit the bail, guilty. They will not even read the trial by declaration. They won't consider it. Now, if the ticket is dismissed, they refund that bail in full 100% of the time. So bail is like you're a criminal. You get to walk free, and once it's decided, they give it back to you. So the ticket dismissed, bail comes back to you. If it is not dismissed, the bail's converted to the fine. The fine is the same amount, and the ticket goes temporarily on your record. So if it's not dismissed, your next option is to either, one, request a new trial. That's called a TR-220. That's the name of the form. It's a trial de novo. All facts are new. It doesn't matter what you said in the trial by declaration. You could come up with totally separate facts on a trial de novo. A trial de novo.
So none of that previous will be used against you in the court of law.
No, it's a second bite at the apple, and they do not refer to the original trial by declaration in court. And you do have to go to court on a new trial. It's not a written trial. It puts you right back where you are before the trial by declaration. So that's why a trial by declaration is your best option. You get two bites of the apple. If that still doesn't work, you can request traffic school at that time.
Wow. All right. Chris in Pasadena, you're on Money 101 on KFWB. Alexis and Stephen here. Go ahead.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. Actually, I have two questions. One is it ever okay or legal to exit the HOV lane? I mean, granted, there's no pylons or anything, so that way you can catch an exit. And I recently got one of these newer phones where it's got the Bluetooth and you want to play music through the car speakers, and I was pulled over, and when I explained that, I was just switching it back to a different track or whatever, they let me go. But is it okay to touch the phone when you're driving? Or
okay, you asked a couple of things. First off, did you get a ticket on the HOV thing?
No, this is actually
you're just asking about that. Okay. Well,
yeah.
Okay, but you were pulled over, and
that was for the hand. Yes.
Okay, Alexis.
Okay, first to answer your question on the HOV lane, you can get a ticket crossing into or out of the carpool lane, regardless of whether your exit is coming up. If you cross over the double yellows, you do have to wait until the white dotted lines come up. You may also see sometimes there will be a white solid line to the left of the double yellow lines. You also cannot, that doesn't mean you can cross over it. That's just a lane control telling you need to stay in that lane. As far as your cell phone ticket, texting does include manually communicating with another person. So I mean that's your excuse. You weren't manually communicating with another person. You were just connecting your Bluetooth.
That's a legitimate case he's got. You're saying there. Huh? All right, now, Chris. What he's doing, so many of us are doing stuff with these smartphones. They got new things we can do with them every day, new gadgets we can play with. The law can't keep up with all of this. So what do you see as the most flagrant things that can get you a ticket right now?
Well, first off, what Alexa said is absolutely right, and the key point, it's manually communicating with another person. So if you're doing anything else with that phone, legally, they can't write you up for a ticket. It's not illegal to check directions. It's not illegal to look up a name. But the problem is the officer sees you have that phone in your hand. He does not know what you're doing. You can be texting. You could be talking on the phone. You could be doing a number of things that...
The texting and the talking, are ticketable.
Absolutely.
But not looking up directions.
Not looking up directions, not looking up a phone number to dial, or anything else. As a matter of fact, you could actually go on the Internet and browse the internet because you're not communicating with another person. You're communicating, obviously, with a computer.
Would you advise someone telling that to the officer or say, listen, I wasn't talking to anybody. I was just getting directions here?
Actually, I would. Now, whether they believe you or not is up to them. The problem, again, is if you have that phone in your hand, he doesn't care what you're doing. He's giving you a ticket. So I wouldn't put it in your hand.
Or let's check out and see how Jesse's handling this and maybe something we can do to help. Pomona. Hi, Jesse. You're on Money 101.
Hi, Bob. Okay, what I've been thinking, I actually got pulled over in Long Beach, and I was issued a citation in regards to cell phone, holding a phone, and I actually mentioned to the officer, and I told him, listen, I have a Bluetooth on, and his response was, it doesn't matter, that's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and blah, blah, blah. And I told him, listen, I even have a GPS that it's hands-free, too, and I have the other phone connected to it. So he still went ahead and issued a ticket. I'm assuming it's for having the cell phone in my hand, which I didn't. The only thing he showed me was look down. He never seen me holding the cell phone. So I intend to fight that. It's not the $160, but it's just the principle I think is wrong. And the only thing that
all right. Well, let's talk about this because, we are talking kind of almost like the thought patrol police here. I mean, I could be looking down to see if my zipper's open or if my coffee's where I thought it was in the console. I mean, what...
Yeah, Bob, those are great comments because this being National Distracted Drivers Awareness Month, there are other violations that you could be cited for regardless if you're doing something illegal or not. And under the Distracted Drivers Awareness Program, you can be cited for interference with driver's control of the vehicle. So let's say you weren't doing anything illegal with that phone. They don't need to issue you a cell phone ticket. They could put down the code for interference with basically the safe driving of that vehicle, and you can get a ticket for that, and that ticket is about $150. If you were putting on makeup in the car or doing something with the radio or have a dog on your lap or things like that, you could be cited for reckless driving.
Which, by the way, the dog on the lap thing, I'm for busting those people.
Absolutely.
All right,
that interferes with it.
More to come on Money 101. The ticket busters are in here. TicketBust.com is the website with Stephen Miller and Alexis Vega. I'm Bob McCormick. Still got some time to talk to them. 888-539-2980. Clippers in action tonight in the Big Apple, and game time is 5. The pregame starts at 4:30. This is a must-win for home court advantage, so you want to be listening as the Clips take on the Knicks. More to come on Money 101. 888-539-2980. Money 101 KFWB. We talk about the Cash Dash for college folks who want to get their financing in order so that they don't have mounting debt with rates going up on student loans. What kind of loan do you need? We deal with that. Gift cards, how to redeem them, how to make sure you're not spending too much on a credit card, how to get the best deals, how to improve your credit. We cover it all. And we cover your money on the market. And Marcy Norton of the Wall Street Journal is here with the look at, I saw that gold just really got pummeled here right after the Fed decision and statement on interest rates. Then it's kind of recovered here to close, I believe, a little higher. And the market's keeping its gains.
Yeah, the market has sort of picked a spot today and stuck with it, and it's not a bad spot. The Dow Jones Industrials are up 73 points at 13,075. The Nasdaq's really jumping today, up 64 points. That's a gain of more than 2%. The S&P 500 up about 16 points now. And a big reason that we're on the plus side today, especially the Nasdaq, is Apple. Its earnings and sales came in a lot stronger than expected, and that's helping to quiet worries about any slowdown in technology spending, particularly any loss of luster of the iPhone that some people were worried about. Apple is up 9% at $611.39 a share.
It says best day apparently in over 4 years, so over $52 or so right now. Thank you, Marcy. Gold just a little below the line on the close here today, but boy, you had a big sell-off in gold that then recovered. Now, what do you need to know about the tickets and how to fight them? That's where TicketBust.com comes in. Stephen Miller and Alexis Vega are here. More tickets being written for the people using their devices in the car. Yeah. What does it do to your record? We know the fine is supposed to be $50, but by the time you're done with it, it's $150.
Yeah, everybody had a misconception is they thought a cell phone ticket, big deal, $50, doesn't go on your record. Well, truth be told is a cell phone or hands-free device texting will carry about a $150 fine once you add in all the city, state, county fees. And the first ticket will not go on your record. The second ticket and beyond will, and the fines increase to $250 to $300 and go up from there.
And you get a point.
And you get a point on your record for every ticket after the first. They let the first slide. There's also been legislation that they've been trying to pass to make every cell phone ticket go on your record. That was shot down this last year. I believe they're going to bring that up again.
All right. Mark is in Torrance, Money 101, with a question for you. KFWB. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, hi. I was wondering if CB radios are put together with cell phones on these laws.
So whether they be covered by the cell phone law.
Yeah, Mark, actually you can get a ticket for using a CB radio if you have it in your hand. You have to have a hands-free device just like everybody else.
All right. Carol in Sherman Oaks, Money 101. Hi, Carol.
Hi, Bob. I wanted to tell you an unbelievable story. I was disabled, and I had a driver, and we pulled up into the legal drop-off space at Cedars-Sinai Medical Building, and the attendant from Cedars came over, helped me out of the car. My driver then took off, and we never saw an officer and never heard anything. And when she legally parked further away, we came out and found a ticket. And the ticket was for dropping me off in the legal drop-off zone at Cedars-Sinai Medical Building. So I fought it. I took dozens of pictures of other people doing that and the attendant helping. I went to court, and we didn't actually go to court. We went to an office building, and I was charged $88. We never saw an officer. We were there 2 minutes in the legal zone, and the woman that listened to us said, well, they shouldn't even have an attendant there.
Now, I'm a little confused. You ended up paying the ticket?
I'm sorry, what?
Did you get the ticket dismissed?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, Carol, that's actually a parking ticket. That's why you went to an office building, not a courthouse. And there isn't really any way to get that we know of to get that ticket dismissed.
Alexis?
Carol, one suggestion. I'm not sure how long ago you got this ticket, but I would go down to the courthouse because there's a process with parking tickets. It sounds like you went to maybe the administrative office. You're allowed a hearing. If the hearing is not in your favor, you can actually file a trial de novo, and that's going to actually be with the courthouse. So just contact the court and find out.
This is something that when you're getting a ticket, it's written by a police officer to be valid that you're going to be paying. Right? But yes. They can tow you on private property without issuing a ticket.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, they can.
And that could be a very expensive process. So, but when you're dropping people off at a place like a hospital that's got a wait zone, apparently, there's these white zones and green zones and red zones. I mean, don't they count for something?
Absolutely. I mean, it should be a valid place to drop somebody off, but if an officer, a parking attendant is out there issuing tickets on behalf of the city, that's something you're going to have to deal with.
Let's try Larry. Looks like maybe you got a little business here, guys. Go ahead, Larry. Hello? Griffin Park. You're on.
Hello.
Larry?
Oh, yes, I can hear. Hello, yes. I'm calling in about I was working and I was coming to a stop getting off the 5 freeway. And he pulled me over and gave me a ticket and said that I didn't stop. It's my word against his. Do you guys fight tickets like that, and how much will it cost?
Yeah, absolutely, Larry. First, are you a commercial driver or a...
Yes, I am for the city of Los Angeles.
Okay.
I don't need it to go on my record.
Absolutely. We understand the importance of keeping points off commercial drivers' records. We do charge $250 for that. We have dealt with this situation many times, and we know exactly how to do that. I suggest you call our office later today, 818-706-3275, and we'll be able to help you out.
All right, now this is a common problem that people have, and I've got to you're coming off of a freeway. You've been driving, at the speed limit. You've been breezing through, covering a lot of ground. You come to that little stop sign. In many cases, no, there's nothing either way, but you got to be real careful.
Absolutely.
So especially like the 134 exit of Forest Lawn, right before the cemetery. Police officers are there constantly.
They're waiting for you.
Absolutely.
They're absolutely waiting. You have to stop.
Absolutely. All right, Paul in L.A., Money 101, KFWB.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Great. Okay. Yeah, my question actually is for a good friend of mine. He got about 6 or 7 speeding tickets over a period of about 5 or 6 years. He didn't show up. He didn't pay any of them. Last time he got pulled over was a year and a half ago, and the officer in downtown L.A. just took his driver's license and wrote him up again, and then just took his license and didn't give it back to him. And he hasn't been driving since, and now he wants to get it together and pay this up in it. They want like $10,000 or something for all the fines for letting all this go. Is there a way that can be reduced?
Okay, do they offer a compromise of something like that? They would for back tickets.
First off, Paul, the good news for your friend is that he can't get any more tickets if his license is taken away. That's the good news. The bad news is you got to call the collection agency and you have to negotiate with them because those fines are with the collection agency now, and they will compromise.
All right, Stephen Miller and Alexis Vega. More information, it's right at their website, TicketBust.com. Thanks for being with us, guys.
Thank you, Bob.
Bob McCormick here, and we'll see you on Friday. We've got Ron Kilgore sitting in for us tomorrow. Our producer is Ken Jeffries, along with Austin Cross. Phil McKeon is the technical producer. And we leave you with a very good market. The Dow up by 67, the NASDAQ up by 63 points. Have a great day.